So this module will talk about accounting for uh, property, plant, and equipment by self-construction. So our learning objectives for this module, so we have two. So first, just like the previous module, is to account for initial recognition of property, plant, and equipment, this time by self-construction. So meaning, instead na they're going to buy or acquire asset like PPE, building, etc. So, it is the company who will make the assets. So, by means of self-construction. Halimbawa, instead na engage nila yung contractor to build their own building, to build a building for them. So, what the company will do is just construct the building for itself. Nangyayari yan kapag halimbawa, construction company ako, ang business ko naman is mag-construct ka ng building. So, instead na yung revenue mapupunta pa sa iba, edi ako na lang kasi marunong naman akong mag-construct ng building. Yun. So, another issues is to account for borrowing costs. O, pag sinabi natin borrowing costs, kasi, syempre, nagko-construct ka ng building, so, yung constructions will require a large sum of money. So, most probably, you finance through debt. So, ibig sabihin ng finance through debt, so yung pagpapagawa mo ng building, inutang mo yun. So, para mapagawa mo yung building, nangutang ka. So, kapag nangutang ka, meron kang interest expense. So, yung interest expense, ito yung tinatawag natin na borrowing cost. Ayan. So, this is special topic for financial accounting. So, accounting for borrowing costs incurred during the construction or development of a qualifying asset. So, yung qualifying assets natin, yun nga ang i-construct natin na asset. So, sa example natin kanina, building yun. So, pero pwede rin namang other assets like machinery, etc. Ayan. So, self-constructed asset. So, yung self-constructed asset nga, so meaning yung company yung will construct their own assets. So, they will make their own equipment, for example, or car or delivery truck, just like the previous module. In our example from the previous module, or their own building. So, yung cost is determined using the same principle as an acquired asset. So, syempre, just like other assets, so all costs that are necessary to bring the assets to its intended condition should be part of the cost of the asset. Ayan. So, constructing same assets that are for sale, so halimbawa you are a construction company or you are a uh, realty corporation. So, ang ginagawa mo is nagko-construct ka, nagde-develop ka ng property, for example. So, you are engaged on the same, or meaning you are constructing the same asset, but yung asset na yun is for sale. So, inventory siya. So, o kaya, gumagawa ka ng kotse, gagawa ka ng kotse for your own operation. So, nagko-construct ka ng sarili mong asset. Cost of such asset is the same as the cost of constructing an asset for sale. So, syempre, kung ano yung nai-incur mo kapag, halimbawa, construction company ka, so gumagawa ka ng building, which is for sale, so inventory yan, assuming binibenta mo yung units. Tapos gumagawa ka ng building for office use. Ayan, office use. So, ibig sabihin, ito, PPE ito. Kaya lang question kasi, ano yung magiging cost ng building? Di kung ano yung cost, pag ginagawa mo yung inventory, yun din dapat yung magiging cost ng building mo na gagamitin mo for sale. Bakit may ganong issue? Kasi di ba yung inventory, kunyari, yung building na cost is 100,000. Di mo naman ibibil si client at 100 eh. Ima-mark up mo siya as, halimbawa, 150,000. 150,000. For example lang yan. Ngayon, ang question, nag-create ka ng sarili mong building for your own. So, anong ipa-price mo o anong charge mong cost ng building na gagamitin mo naman as PPE? Ito bang 150 o itong 100,000? Assuming pareho-pareho yung building na binebenta mo as inventory. Tsaka yung building na kinonstruct mo for your own use. So, ang rule, kung ano yung cost ng inventory, kung paano mo determine cost ng inventory, most probably, ganun din yung magiging cost nung kinonstruct mo for your own. So, ibig sabihin, i-eliminate or hindi kasama dun sa magiging cost ng PPE mo, yung markup. So, hindi dapat itong 150. Dapat 100,000 lang din. Kasi pag nag-construct ka ng asset for sale, 100,000 lang ang cost sa'yo. So, hindi pwedeng isama mo yung markup. Kaya sabi niya, any internal profits are eliminated in arriving at such cost. So, hindi pwedeng yung 150. The cost of abnormal amounts of wasted materials, labor, or other resources incurred in self-constructing an asset is not included in the cost of the asset. So, if you remember dun sa cost accounting, so meron tayong mga losses. So, yung mga abnormal losses, yung beyond the normal, nire-recognize natin siya as period cost. So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya nagiging part ng cost ng inventory. Kasi abnormal nga eh. Ayan, so, yung mga abnormal losses. So, period cost yan. So, ibig sabihin, expense. Or part ng operating expenses. So, same lang sa cost accounting tsaka sa financial accounting. So, what are critical issues related dun sa self-constructed asset? Di una, yung allocation ng indirect manufacturing cost. Di ba remember, kapag inventory tayo, merong tatlong cost yan. Direct materials, direct labor, and overhead. Itong dalawa, maraming problema eh. Yung overhead, direct materials and direct labor are traceable to the asset. So, anong asset? Yung inventory. Pero yung overhead, di siya traceable dun sa inventory. So, yun ang problem. Nagko-construct ka ng, halimbawa, ng machine na inventory. Nagko-construct ka rin ng machine na para for operation. So, ano magiging cost ng machine mo? Di syempre, kung ano din yung cost ng inventory mo. So, may direct materials, direct labor, may overhead din. So, itong ginagawa mong machine, sa factory mo rin naman ginagawa yan, makaka-incur din siya ng overhead. Kaya ang question, paano mo allocate yung overhead dun sa machine? Hindi naman siya for sale. So, mamaya pag-aralan natin. Aside from issues like allocating or allocation of indirect manufacturing costs, another issue yung tinatawag natin na interest capitalization o yun nga ang borrowing cost related dun sa construction ng property, plant, and equipment. Kung hindi naman siya PPE, halimbawa ordinary inventory lang, wala mang problema dun kasi small amount lang. Ang problema kasi pag PPE, large yung amount. So, most probably involve yung borrowing cost. Sa inventory, pwede rin namang, usually kasi sa inventory, hindi natin china-charge as part ng cost ng inventory yung borrowing cost. Although meron mga exemption dyan, actually nasa kabila. Pwede siya sa inventory i-charge. Yung borrowing cost pwede maging cost ng inventory as long as hindi siya yung usual na inventory yung pinoproduce ng mga company. Halimbawa yung mga special order. Yung mga one-time or special type of inventory. Hindi yun yung usual na inventory pinoproduce mo. Kaya lang yung customer kasi requested for such kind of inventory or product or services. Therefore, ina-allow ka ng standard na i-recognize yung borrowing cost as part ng cost ng inventory. Pero kapag yan usual inventory, you are not allowed to charge borrowing cost to your inventory. O ba yun? So, sa kapag inventory, allowed ka, general rule, hindi ka allowed, pero may exemption to the general rule. Yun nga yung special type of product or services. Pero pag PPE, allowed ka to charge borrowing costs. Ayan. So, the amount of the manufacturing overhead charged to the self-constructed asset may be equivalent to its fair share using the same basis of allocation for manufactured inventory. So, ibig sabihin, fair share lang siya. Fair share siya. So, kung paano mo tina-charge sa inventory, ganun din doon sa PPE. Or pwedeng incremental amount. So, chinarge mo yung certain portion sa PPE. So, yung sobra, mapupunta naman siya dun sa sa inventory, sorry. Chinarge mo siya sa inventory. So, yung sobra, mapupunta naman dun sa inventory. Tingnan niyo yung example. So, ABC Construction Incorporated is a company engaged in constructing building. So, ang business niya is construct building. So, during the year, it also constructed a building for its own use. Ayan. So, kasi building naman ang business mo. So, kailangan mo ng office building. Bakit ka pa mag-engage ng ibang company? So, napupunta pa sa kanila yung profit. So, at least kung ikaw ang gagawa, at cost lang yung magiging cost on your part. So, sabi do sa problem, the following information is made available for your analysis actually, or for you. So, first, we have building constructed for client. So, itong for clients, so ito yung magiging inventory. So, IAS number 2 ang gagamitin mo dyan. So, building constructed for own use. So, ito yung papasok sa IAS 16. Although meron pang ibang standard na pwede dyan. So, direct material. So, 5 million. So, 800,000. So, yung mga semento, buhangin, etc. Direct labor. So, yung wages ng construction workers. So, that's 4,500,000. So, yung for clients. Kasi madami sila. So, for you naman, 500,000 lang. So, the total incurred. So, ibig sabihin, actual to, incurred during the period amounted to 6 million. So, actual overhead natin is 6 million. The company normally applies overhead to production at the rate of 90% of direct labor cost. So, itong 90%, ito yung predetermined overhead rate natin na ginagamit niya dun sa inventory, actually. So, sabi niya, determine the cost of the respective assets. So, ibig sabihin yung inventory o yung building constructed for clients and building constructed for own use. So, yun yung magiging IAS 6 PPE natin. Assuming that, so, meron mga ibang requirements. First, overhead is charged to normal operations and to building for own, ibig sabihin, for normal operations, inventory, and to building for own use based on direct labor cost. So, for this letter A, sabi niya based on direct labor cost daw. So, ang allocation ratio natin is direct labor cost. Pero hindi yung predetermined overhead rate. Kasi may binigay kanina na predetermined overhead rate na nakabase din sa direct labor cost. Yan. So, ibig sabihin lang yan. So, we have inventory. Ito yung for clients. Then, we have building. Ibig sabihin nito, ito yung PPE. Ito yung for clients o ito yung inventory natin. So, we have direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead. Actually, ito yung pinaka-problem natin, factory overhead. So, 5 million yung for clients, and direct labor is 4,500,000. For PPE, so ang actual cost is 800,000 for direct materials. For direct labor, this is 500,000. So, ang question lang, paano natin allocate yung 6 million na factory overhead? So, ang sabi naman sa problem, use daw direct labor costs as allocation base, pero hindi yung predetermined overhead rate. So, sasabihin dapat sa problem na predetermined overhead rate ang gagamitin. O kaya, yung normal charging rate or yung normal way of charging overhead to inventory. That's the time na predetermined overhead rates ang gagamitin natin. If that is the case, gagawa lang tayo ng fraction. So, based daw sa direct labor cost, so 4, 5 plus 500,000. So, this is 5 million. So, for inventory, allocation base kasi yan. So, allocation rate. So, this is 4.5. But 4.5, 4,500,000. Di-divide ko ng 5 million. Tapos, i-multiply ko dito sa 6 million. So, ang lalabas dyan, this is 5 million. 400,000. Ngayon, for building, 500,000 lang yung direct labor cost niya. So, 500,000, i-divide ko ng 5 million, i-multiply ko rin ng 6 million. So, ang lalabas dito is 600,000. So, pag inad natin to, yung building natin magiging 1,900,000. Yung inventory naman is 14,900,000. So, ito yung sagot natin. So, anong entry dito sa building? So, debit tayo ng building, tapos credit tayo ng various accounts. Kasi pwedeng direct materials, wages and salaries payable, and yung factory overhead. So, ito yung sagot natin. Next requirement. So, normal operation, so yung inventory, is charged with overhead at its normal rate. Oh, sabi niya, normal rate daw. So, ibig sabihin, yung predetermined overhead rate ang gagamitin. And any incremental overhead is charged to building constructed for own use. Take note, sabi niya incremental. So, meaning, hindi tayo magbe-base dun sa predetermined overhead rate kapag PPE. So, yung predetermined overhead rate lang daw kapag dun sa normal operation. So, meaning yung pang inventory. So, we have inventory. So, we have building. Ito yun. So, direct materials ulit, direct labor. So, this is 5 million. Building, 800,000. Direct labor is 4 million, 500,000. 500,000 for building. Then, we have factory overhead. Take note, for inventory, so naka-base dun sa normal rate, which is yung 90%. So, para makompute sa inventory, that's 4,500,000. I-multiply ko ng 90%. So, magkano? So, 4,500,000 times 0.9. So, this is 4,050,000. Pero for building, sabi niya, incremental lang. So, ibig sabihin, yung hindi natin na-charge sa inventory, mapupunta sa building. So, this will be 6 million minus 4,050,000. O, ayan. So, lalabas. So, 6 million minus 4,050,000. So, for building, so this will be 1,950,000. Ayan. So, ito magiging 3,250,000 for the building. For inventory, magiging 3,550,000. Ayan. Kasi sabi, incremental lang. Okay, last requirements. Letter C. So, overhead is charged at normal operation and to building for own use based on predetermined overhead rate. So, this time, parehong naka-base dun sa direct labor cost. So, gagamitin natin pareho yung predetermined overhead rate for the inventory and for the building. So, let's compute. So, inventory. So, we have building. This is direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead. So, this is 5 million. Direct labor is 4,500,000. This is 800,000. This is 500,000. Ayan. So, remember, ang predetermined overhead rate is 90% ng direct labor cost. So, for our inventory, this is 4.5 million. Multiply natin ng 90%. So, lalabas yung 4,050,000. For the building naman, that's 500,000 times 90%. So, this is 450,000. So, 800 plus 500 plus 450. So, this will be 1,750,000. For inventory, this is 13,550,000. So, if you notice, yung 4,050,000 tsaka 450, hindi yan mag-equal do sa 6 million. Kasi, if you remember sa cost accounting, at the end of the period, kapag normal cost system ginagamit ng firm, nagko-compute sila ng under and over applied. Then, kapag material, i-charge dun sa, or i-charge dun sa work in process, finished goods, saka sa cost of goods sold. So, kapag material, pag material yan. Pag immaterial, i-charge natin sa cost of goods sold. So, same lang din. Ngayon, kung may tanong doon sa construction, please post your question to the discussion forum. Next is accounting for borrowing. Ayan, so, I told you a while ago, so when we talk about borrowing cost, it is the cost incurred related to borrowing transaction. So, meaning, interest expense nga ang tinutukoy dito. So, yung borrowing cost, this is interest. Ayan, interest payment. O, interest payment or expense. Ayan, so, yan tinutukoy dyan. So, normally, yung borrowing cost will be recognized as expense. Actually, finance cost yan. And it will be included in the computation of your net income. actually net income subject to tax o profit or loss statement of your comprehensive income. So, hindi talaga yan capitalizable cost kasi nga financing cost yan. So, cost yan of financing. So, yan yung kapalit kapag nangutang ka. Ano ibig sabihin? So, borrowing cost incurred during the period of construction, take note. Ngayon, may exemption set by IAS 23. So, kapag naka-incur ka ng interest payment during the period of construction or qualifying asset, so meron kang qualifying assets, nagko-construct ka ng sarili mong asset, and you incur borrowing cost kasi inutang mo yung pagpapagawa nung asset na yon. Di ba? Pagpapagawa ng building na yon. So, pwede siyang maging part ng cost ng qualifying assets. So, yun nga lang, may limitation. So, subject by IS number 23 yon. So, allowed tayo na i-recognize as part ng cost. Kasi na-incur mo naman siya related dun sa construction ng qualifying assets. So, therefore, we are allowed to recognize the interest expense or interest payment or cost as part ng cost of your qualifying assets. So, ang qualifying assets yung kinoconstruct mong asset. Ayan. So, an entity shall begin capitalizing borrowing costs when the entity first meets all of the following conditions. So, first, allowed lang tayo mag-recognize ng cost ng borrowing costs as part ng cost ng inventory if we meet all of the following conditions. First, it incurs expenditures for the asset. Siyempre, kung hindi mo naman kinoconstruct yung asset, so wala tayong i-recognize na cost ng borrowing. Kasi di mo naman nagamit yung inutang mo doon sa construction ng qualifying assets. Yan. It incurs borrowing cost. Syempre, kung walang borrowing cost, bakit mo i-charge? O bakit siya maging cost ng inventory? It undertakes activities that are necessary to prepare the assets for its intended use or sale. Ngayon, meron din exemption na, halimbawa, may qualifying assets ka, and you are engaged in constructing that qualifying assets, pero you're not allowed to recognize a borrowing cost. Ito yung mga exemption. So, una, borrowing cost incurred related to qualifying assets that are measured at fair value. So, kung assets that are measured at fair value, kahit qualifying assets pa yan, and you incur borrowing costs, hindi siya allowed. You are not allowed to charge the cost of borrowing as part ng cost ng asset natin. So, example nun yung mga biological assets and investment property measured at fair value. So, yung mga hindi mo ginagamit for operations, you are not allowed. So, borrowing costs incurred relating to inventories that are produced in large quantities on a repetitive basis. So, sabi ko kanina, doon sa introduction, so kapag inventory, allowed tayo mag-recognize ng borrowing costs doon lang sa inventory na special product or services requested by customer. So, pero kung repetitive basis, hindi yan special kasi repetitive nga yan. So, yan yung usual. So, therefore, you are not allowed to recognize a borrowing cost. Ayan. So, the amount of borrowing costs that are capitalizable will depend on the following. So, ito yung mga pag-aaral natin later. So, specific borrowing, ibig sabihin, kaya ka lang nangutang, yung inutang mo para lang dun sa construction ng qualifying assets. Yun. So, kapag sinabi namang general borrowing, so nangutang ka, not specifically to construct your qualifying assets. It just happens that some portion of your general borrowings ginamit mo dun sa construction ng assets. So, halimbawa, kailangan kong i-finance yung working capital ko. So, nangutang ako. Kailangan ko din ng funds to construct my qualifying assets. So, yung inutang ko for the working capital requirements, ginamit ko siya dun sa construction ng assets. If that is the case, a certain portion nung interest or borrowing costs incurred dun sa general borrowings mo, mapupunta dun sa, o pwede mo siyang i-charge as cost ng qualifying assets. Or, pwede rin namang ang scenario, combination ng specific tsaka general. Bad combination. Kasi, hindi yung inutang mo for construction of your qualifying assets are not enough. So, therefore, yung general borrowings mo, for example, sa to meet your working capital requirements, ginamit mo din siya para dun sa construction ng qualifying assets. So, yan yung mga scenario yung pag-aaralan natin later. So, ito yung steps. Although, hindi naman ganito, pero most probably, it's better for you to understand the steps or familiarize yourself in the steps in accounting for borrowing costs. So, number one, so compute the actual borrowing cost. So, pag sinabi natin actual, this is related, ito yung actual interest expense natin. Usually, applicable to sa specific borrowings arrangement. Specific borrowings. Tsaka sa general na rin, actually. Ngayon, kung general yung borrowings mo, so we are required to compute for the weighted interest rates, tsaka yung compute for the weighted expenditures. Kahit alin mauna diyan sa dalawa. Why do you need to compute for the weighted interest expense and weighted expenditures? Kasi later on, you need to compute for the weighted borrowing cost. Kapag general kasi, wini-weight natin yung i-charge nating borrowing cost. Wini-weight natin yung expenditures kasi nga, hindi naman lahat ng inutang mo for general borrowings, ginamit mo dun sa construction. So, i-estimate natin kung how much ba yung na-incur, how much ba yung na-incur mong cost dun sa qualifying asset by computing for the weighted average of such cost. May gawin natin yan para mas makita nyo. So, compute the borrowing cost. Kapag general borrowing, di ba nag-compute ka ng actual, tapos nag-compute ka ng weighted borrowing, actual borrowing cost, saka weighted borrowing cost. So, bakit ka naman compute sila pareho? Kasi ko-compare mo sila. Ang allowed sa atin na i-charge as part ng cost ng qualifying assets is yung lower between actual and weighted borrowing cost. Yan. Yung mas bababa. Tignan mo yung example. So this is on January 1, 2019. ABC Company started the construction of its new building. So ang qualifying assets natin is yung building. The company follows the policy of capitalizing allowable interest costs kasi we are allowed naman by the IAS. Construction costs were incurred as follows. So ito, yung cost ng building natin. So yung cost ng building, this is actual cost. Without borrowing cost yan. Kasi nga, kukumpitin pa natin yung cost ng borrowing cost. So that's 140, 100, 120, 100, 140. So if you add that, so ang total cost ng building ko is 500,000. Ayan. The building was completed on December 31, 2019. So, the construction started January 1. So, natapos or na-complete yung building mo on December 31, 2019. So, ang actual cost mo is 500,000. So, itong 500,000, ito yung direct materials kanina plus direct labor plus yung overhead. So, wala pa yung borrowing cost. Ngayon, ito yung scenario 1. So, on January 1, 2019, the company obtained a loan for 400,000 at an interest rate of 10%, specifically for the construction of the building. So, prior to their disbursement, the proceeds of the loan were temporarily invested and earned interest income amounting to 125,000. Ayan. So, actually, medyo may mali dito. Pero sundin na lang natin yung requirement. How much is the capitalized interest? So, gawin natin doon sa next page. Ngayon, take note, this is specific borrowing. Bakit specific borrowings to? Kasi nga, yung inutang mo na, ito yung loan mo, is 400,000. Kaya mo inutang yung 400,000 na yan para dun sa construction ng building. So, ibig sabihin, specific borrowings yan. Hindi mo gagamitin yung 400,000 sa other activities mo. So, ang interest rate is 10%. Kaya yung 400,000, pag minultiply ko ng 10%, so 40,000. Ito yung interest payment ko or interest expense na incurred ko because of the specific borrowing. So, ito lang yung allowed na maging part ng ito yung borrowing cost na allowed na maging cost ng building mo. Yung 40,000 na yan. Kaya lang, interest payment to. So, ang nangyari daw doon, so yung 400,000 ininvest mo siya, kasi hindi mo naman lagi ginagamit, di ba? Pag napansin nyo yung data kanina doon sa actual cost, merong actual cost for specific months na binigay. Halimbawa, for January, 140, March 31, naka-incur ka na 100. So, hindi mo kailangan yung buong 400. So, anong ginawa mo? Ininvest mo muna siya. So, yung ininvest mo daw, nagkaroon ka daw ng profit or interest income for 125,000. So, usually kasi may interest expense tayo, may interest income. So, yung difference nila, yan lang yung i-charge natin as cost ng assets o yung kinakapitalize natin. Hindi yung pwede yung 40 kasi expense yan kaya magiging cost ng building mo. And unfortunately, nakareceive ka naman ng interest income related do sa specific borrowing mo. So, ibig sabihin, bawas sa cost yung interest income. So, in effect, yung income mo mas mataas, 85,000. If that is the case, wala tayong ika-capitalize na borrowing cost. Bakit wala? Kasi mas malaki pa yung kinita mo kaysa doon sa ginastos mong interest, kaysa doon sa borrowing cost mo. So, in effect, wala ka talagang borrowing cost. Borrowing income, meron ka. So, zero ang ika-capitalize natin. What if, kasi parang may mali lang doon sa given. So, what if, instead na 125,000, ang interest income natin is only 12,500. If that is the case, yung borrowing cost natin is 40,000 kasi specific borrowings to, kaya ganito lang. And if you notice, yung loan natin nag-start o inutang natin ng January 1, 2019. So nakuha natin yung buong 400,000 ng January 1, 2019. Kaya ang interest natin is from January 1 to December 31. Kaya minultiply ko lang ng 10% yung 400. 40,000 na. Ngayon, meron tayong interest income. So this is 12,500 kasi nag-what if ako. So 12,500, so minus ko yan. So 40,000 minus 12,500. So lalabas, meron pa akong expense na hindi ko na-recover from investing that funds or that specific borrowings na 27,500. So itong 27,500 na yan, yan yung magiging part ng building ko. So question, magkano na yung cost ng building? E di 500,000 yung actual cost kanina plus itong 27,500. So ang ide-debit ko sa building is 527,500. Yan. Yan ang magiging. Paano ang entry doon? So debit ka ng interest expense 12,500. Debit ka ng building, 27,500. Credit ka ng cash, 40,000. Tapos may debit ka rin na cash, 12,500. Credit ka ng interest income, 12,500. Ayun. Okay, class. So, scenario 2. So, the company obtained a loan for 500,000 at an interest rate of 10% specifically for the construction of the building. So, this is a specific borrowings. So, yung 500,000 was obtained or a loan specifically for construction of the asset or qualifying assets, which is the building in this case. So, sabi niya, availments from the loan were made at the beginning of each quarter. So, hindi daw natin nakuha yung buong 500,000. So, nakuha lang daw natin siya every first day ng quarter o beginning of each quarter. So, for 1 year, 4 yung quarters dun. So, yung 500,000, i-divide ko ng 4. So, lalabas, 125,000 ang nakuha natin out of 500,000 per quarter. Yan. Availments from the loan were made at the beginning of each quarter in equal amounts. Prior to their disbursement, the proceeds of the loan were temporarily invested and earned interest income amounting to 4,000. So, may interest income ulit. Yun nga lang, yung interest expense natin, hindi kagaya dun sa scenario 1, di ba ginawa ko lang dun, 500,000 times 10%. O 400,000 times per 10%. Kasi, nakuha na natin yung proceeds of the loan at the start of the year pa lang. Pero ito hindi. Bakit hindi? Kasi nga, at the beginning of each quarter lang tayo nakakuha ng funds out of yung loan amount na 500,000. So, ibig sabihin, yung first 100,000, 125,000 nakuha natin ng January 1. Yung second 125,000 nakuha ng April 1. Ito yung second na 125 or loan amount. Noong July 1, nakuha natin yung another 125,000. And yung last, nakuha natin ng 10-1. So, if we add this for 125,000, that will total 500,000. If that is the case, we just need to compute for the interest expense for this period. Yan. So, para ma-compute natin yung interest expense, kasi interest expense yan yung magiging borrowing cost na i-charge natin doon sa building for specific borrowings. Take note, this is specific. So, remember, yung una natin, nakuha natin ng January 1. So, 125,000. Ibig sabihin, outstanding loan to from January 1 to December 31. Kaya ito, i-multiply ko ng 10%. I-multiply ko ng 12 over 12. Or times 1 na lang. Kasi nga, from January 1 to December 31. So, outstanding siya for 12 months. So, lalabas, this is 12,500. Number 2, nakuha natin ng April 1, yung 125,000. So, i-multiply ko ulit ng 10%. Pero from April 1 to December 31 lang. So, that is 9 over 12. So, lalabas, this is 9,375. Number 3, so yung third 125,000 was received on July 1. So, 7-1. So, nakuha ulit natin yung another 125,000. So, i-multiply ko ulit ng 10%. I-multiply ko ng 6 over 12. But 6 over 12, from July 1 to December 31, that's 6 months. So, lalabas, this is 6,250. And lastly, number 4, received on October 1, the another 125,000. So, multiply again by 10%, but this time, multiply by 3 over 12. Kasi, yung 125,000 na received on October 1 is only outstanding for 3 months lang. So, lalabas, this is 3,125. Ayan. So, ito yung mga actual borrowing costs. Actual borrowing cost from specific borrowings na pag inad to, ito yung 500,000. Ayan. So, ang total nito is 31,250. So, ito yung borrowing cost. However, hindi pa yung sagot kasi meron pa tayong interest income. Kasi nga, in-invest mo yung certain portion yan. So, kumita daw tayo ng 4,000. So, ibabawas yun, di ba? Pag specific borrowings. So, 31,250 minus 4,000. So, in effect, ang ika-capitalize lang to be capitalized is equal only to 27,250. So, magkano na yung cost ng building natin? So, meron tayong 500,000 na actual cost plus itong 27,250. So, lalabas 527 na 250. So, itong 527,250, yan yung isa-subject natin for depreciation sa mga next module pa. Yan. Yan. Scenario 3. Scenario 3 tayo. So, on the current year naman, sabi niya, on the current year, ABC Company the following, take note, this is general borrowings naman. So, ibig sabihin, itong inutang natin na 160 and 200,000, this is not specifically loaned o borrowed for construction of the qualifying assets. Nagkataon lang na yung proceeds ng 160 at 200, ginamit natin doon sa building. Kasi sabi niya, ayan, the proceeds of these loans were used in part for the construction of the building. Yan lang. So, therefore, allowed tayong mag-recognize ng borrowing cost. Ibig sabihin, yung interest expense dito sa 160 tsaka 200 na to. Doon sa cost ng qualifying assets, provided meron tayong ceiling, di ba? Kasi compare natin yung actual versus dun sa weighted average borrowing cost. Whichever is lower. Conservative tayo kasi nga yung 160 at 200, di naman talaga lahat yan ginastos for the construction of the building. So therefore, hindi pwede yung actual borrowing cost. Kunin natin yung much yung lower sa kanila. Ayan. So ang tanong, how much is the capitalized interest? Ayan. So solve natin doon sa next slide. So yung first natin gagawin is to compute for the weighted average expenditures. Ayan. Kasi yung expense, ang assumption natin, doon lang dapat tayo magre-recognize na borrowing costs. Diba? And take note, this is related to your general borrowings. Conservative tayo kasi general to. So, paano gagawin yun? So, just like the way you compute for the weighted average capital doon sa partnership na discuss nyo sa financial accounting and reporting. Pero madali lang yan. So, halimbawa, January 1, if you go back dun sa original data, so sabi niya, ang actual expenditures daw for the building, nung January 1, naka-incur tayo ng 140,000. Yan. Tapos, nung March 31, naka-incur tayo ng 100,000. Nung July 1, naka-incur tayo ng 120,000. Noong September 30, naka-incur tayo ng 100,000. Then, 12/31, naka-incur tayo ng 40,000. So, if we add these 140, 100, 140, 100, 120, 100, tsaka 40, ang total nito is 500,000. So, this is our actual expenditure. Pero hindi yan yung weighted average. Kasi conservative. So, ang gagawin lang natin, i-weight lang natin siya, i-multiply lang natin kung ilang buwan outstanding yung actual expenditures. Ibig sabihin yan, halimbawa, itong 140,000, incurred mo yan nung January 1. So, from January 1 to December 31, that's 12 months. So, para makuha ko yung weight niyan, i-multiply ko to ng 12/12. So, lalabas, this is still 140,000. Ayan. So, para mas madali, kung naalala niyo yung tinuro ko sa inyo before, so yung 12/31 minus yung 1/1. So, 12 minus 1 is 11. 31 minus 1, kasi 1 yung 1 is 30. So, 11 months and 30 days is 12 months. Ito naman, so 12 minus 3. 12 minus 3 is 9. So, i-multiply ko to ng 9/12. Tama, 9, 10. Ito tama. So, lalabas, this is 75,000. Ayan. 7/1. So, 12 minus 7 is 5. 31 minus 1 is 30. So, 6 months. So, i-multiply ko to ng 6/12. So, this will be 60,000. And lastly, 9/30. So, 12 minus 9 is 3. Ayan. 31 minus 30 is 1 day. So, 3 months lang. So, times ko to ng 3/12. So, this will be 25,000. And this is, yung 40,000 is incurred on 12/31. So, this is 0. Bakit? 12/31 minus 12/31 is 0. So, therefore, lalabas, this is 0. So, ang weighted average expenditures natin is equal to 300,000. Ayan. Ayan. Please remember this weighted average expenditure kasi pautuit lang. Now, ang next step sa number 2 is to compute for actual borrowing costs. Ayan. So, take note, this is actual borrowing cost, which is related to your general borrowing cost. So, ang gagawin lang dyan, di ba remember, dalawa yung loan natin. Una, yung isa 10%, multiply ko lang 160, kasi outstanding pa to for 1 year. So, from January 1 to December 31, so 12 months yun. So, this is 16,000. Yung pangalawa, so 12% yun. Ang face amount is 200,000. So, therefore, this is 24,000. So, ang actual ko is silang dalawa. 16 plus 24. So, 40,000. So, ito yung actual. Ayan. So, number 3 step is to compute for weighted average uh, interest rate or borrowing rate. Take note, this is weighted average. So, ang gagawin lang dyan, ang formula lang doon sa weighted average interest rate or borrowing rate, this will be yung actual interest for the year, which is 40,000. I-divide lang natin nung loan, which is itong 160 plus 200. So, this is 40,000. I-divide ko ng 360,000. Kasi 200 plus 160. So, lalabas, this is 11.11%. Actually, madami yan. 0.111111. Yan. So, number 4. Okay. So, compute for weighted average borrowing cost, which is for general borrowings. General borrowings kasi yung 160 tsaka 200,000. Paano gagawin yan? E di yung weighted average expenditures, i-multiply lang natin ang weighted average interest rate, which is yung 300,000 do sa previous slides, i-multiply ko lang ng 11.11%. So, lalabas, this is 33,333.33. Question, ito na ba yung borrowing cost? Di pa. Kasi ang next step, compare, di ba? Kukunin natin yung lower. So, yung actual borrowing cost from general borrowings is 40,000. Yung weighted average borrowing cost from general borrowings is 33,333.33. So, ibig sabihin, ang pwede lang i-capitalize itong 33,333.33. So, magkano na yung cost ng building mo? Assuming, i-add natin itong borrowing cost na 33,333.33. Eh, di 533,333.33. Paano nangyari yun? Kasi remember, ang actual cost incurred na as of December 31 is 500,000. Ayun. Next scenario. So, yung last scenario natin is scenario 4. So, basahin lang natin. So, yung January 1, 2019, ABC Company borrowed 180,000 at an interest rate of 10% specifically for the construction of its new building. So, meron tayong specific borrowing. So, itong 180,000. So, specific borrowings yan. Interest earned from the temporary investment of the proceeds of the loan prior to their disbursement amounted to 2,000. So, meron tayong 2,000 na income. So, remember, kapag specific borrowings, binabawas natin yung interest income related dun sa amount loan na specific for the construction of the building. However, also, ABC Company also had the following other loans which were borrowed for general purposes. So, meron din naman tayong general borrowings. The proceeds of these loans were used in part for the construction of the building. So, ginamit din daw doon sa building. Ngayon, kung sinabi sa problem, hindi naman pala ginamit sa building. So, hindi natin i-consider yung borrowing cost dun sa general borrowings. Kasi dito, yung general borrowings daw, out of some portion of your general borrowing are used or was used or were used, sabi niya, in the construction of building. So, therefore, magko-qualify yan dun sa capitalizable na borrowing cost. If you notice, same lang siya. Same lang. So, gagamitin ko din yung kinumpit natin kanina dun sa previous slide. So, how much is the capitalized interest? Ayan. So, first, ito yun. Unang gagawin natin, di ba? Compute for the actual borrowing cost for specific borrowings. Madali lang naman yan. Kasi outstanding naman for 1 year yung 180,000. Di ba niloan natin yan noong January 1, 2019. So, i-multiply ko lang ng 10%. So, lalabas, this is 18,000. Ayan. Pero, take note, this is borrowing cost. Meron tayong interest income. Magkano yun? 2,000. Ayan. So, therefore, 16,000 lang yung borrowing cost from specific borrowings. This is for specific borrowings. Number 2. Yun, punta naman tayo sa general borrowings. Ayan. So, general borrowings, ang unang natin gagawin, kukunin natin yung weighted average expenditures, di ba? Na-compute na natin kanina. So, this is 300,000. 300,000 yun. Ayan. So, ito yung weighted average expenditures. Pero itong weighted average expenditures na 300,000, combination ng specific, tsaka, di ba, remember, ito yung weighted average expenditure mo sa building. Pero itong 180,000 na to, niloan mo for the building. Di syempre, itong 180, ginamit mo para dun sa building. Ito yung na-expense, na-incurred mo na for the building, 300. So, hindi itong buong 300 para sa general. Kasi yung 180, inutang mo para i-construct yung building. So, syempre, ang kukumpitan lang natin ng interest ng borrowing cost for general borrowings, edi yung inutang mo lang for general borrowings o yung ginamit mo lang na funds, na money, dun sa general borrowings. Ang na-incur mo na 300. Yung 180 dyan, para dun sa specific borrowings. So, ibig sabihin, ang kinuha mo lang na money dun sa inutang mo for general purpose, yung difference lang ng 300 tsaka 180. So, lalabas 120,000 lang. So, ito lang yung kukumpitan natin ng borrowing cost for general o from general borrowings. Itong 120 lang na to. So, this is the weighted average expenditure for general borrowings. Ayan. Next slide tayo sa step B. Step B, sa general borrowings pa rin tayo. Anong gagawin natin? Yung weighted average interest rate. Na-compute na rin natin to kanina kasi same lang naman yung given. This is 11.11%. Ayan. So, pag na-compute mo na yan, letter C, compute natin yung weighted average borrowing cost. Yan lang yung 120,000. Doon sa previous example, 300 yun kasi walang specific borrowings. This time, may specific borrowing. So, yung 300, binawasan natin ng 180. So, 120 na lang yun. So, yung 120,000, i-multiply ko ng 11.11%. So, lalabas, this is 13,333.33. So, ito yung weighted average borrowing cost. Step D, sa general borrowings. Ang gagawin natin yan, compare, di ba? Compare. So, yung actual borrowing cost, this is 40,000. So, I hope naalala nyo rin kung paano kayo compute. Yung interest rate lang sa general borrowings, i-multiply lang dun sa principal ng general borrowings. So, 40,000 yun. I-compare natin dun sa weighted average borrowing cost. So, that is 13,333. So, ibig sabihin, ang kukunin natin, mas mababa kasi conservative. So, ito yun. So, ito yung capitalizable borrowing cost. Itong 13,3. Na, take note, related pa lang sa general borrowings. Kasi dalawa eh. So, question, magkano yung borrowing cost to capitalize? Yung total. E di yung sa specific borrowings natin na 16,000 plus yung general borrowings natin na 13,333.13. So, lalabas, ang total nito is 29,333.13. Yan. So, magkano yung cost ng building? Yung actual na 500,000 plus yung borrowing cost na 29,333.13. So, ang total nito is 529,333.13. So, ang sagot natin is this one. So, yan yung magiging subject for depreciation. Ayan. So, that is the end of module 2.4. So, all you have to do is review the materials, then solve some problems for practice. And our next module, actually this is the last for mode of acquisition, is the exchange of non-monetary assets. If you have any question, please post your questions in the discussion forum. And also, you can message me through email or through messengers. Thank you and God bless.